Welcome to ANS Solver question 1 part A of this question. Of this paper, sorry. So they are asking us to find the values of P and Q. Now we know that angles on a straight line add up to 180, so therefore P has to be 180 minus 48. So therefore 180 minus 48 is equal to 132, and therefore P is equal to 132. Now let's move to finding the value of Q. So again, we know that opposite angles are equal as well. So 48 and 48, because we know opposite angles are equal, and angles in a triangle add up to 180. So we can simply do 180 minus 55 minus 48 to find the value of Q, which is 77 in this case. So 77 degrees and 132 degrees will be our final answers for part A of this question. Now let's move to part B, where they are asking us to find the value of x, and they are telling us the angles of a quadrilateral are the following. Now, we know that angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360. So we can just add all the four angles and equate it to 360. So x plus 5 plus 2x minus 5 plus x plus 10 is equal to 360. So now all we need to do is solve for x. So x plus x is 2x, 2x plus 2x is 4x, 4x plus x is 5x. So 5 minus 25 is negative 20, and negative 20 plus 10 is negative 10. So 5x minus 10 is equal to 360. So all I did was simplify the left hand side of the equation. Now what you have to do is you can take 10 to the other side of the equation, so it will become 5x is equal to 360 plus 10, and therefore 5x is equal to 70 plus 10. Therefore 360 is equal to 5x is equal to 370. Therefore x would be equal to 370 divided by 5, which is equal to 74 degrees. Now we can move on to part C. So for part C, they are telling us to find the size of an interior angle. So they are telling us to find the size of an interior angle of a regular polygon that has 72 sides. So the formula to find an interior angle of a regular polygon is 180 multiplied by n minus 2 divided by n. So we know n in this case, that is 72. So let's substitute n. So 72 minus 2 will be 70, and n is 72, so divided by 72. Therefore the interior angle will be equal to 180 multiplied by 70 divided by 72, which is equal to 175. So 175 degrees will be your final answer for part C. Now let's move to part D. So in part D, they are asking us to find the values of u, v, w, x and y. Okay, so the easiest to find is u, because we know that the angle between the tangent and the radius is always 90 degrees. Now OA is the radius and PQ is a tangent to the point A. So therefore we know that the angle PAO will make 90 degrees. Now they've already given us part of that angle, that is 60 degrees. Therefore U has to be 90 minus 60 degrees, which is equal to 30 degrees. So you can just write 30 over here, so it makes it easier for further calculation. Now we know that the angle in a semicircle is always 90 degrees. So the triangle that is formed with the diameter and the third side of the triangle touches this. So all three sides touch the circle, and one of the sides is the diameter. So if you see ACD, that triangle, the angle ADC will be 90 degrees. So since we know two angles in the triangle, we know that angles inside a triangle add up to 180. So therefore V would be 180 minus 90 minus 30, which is equal to 60 degrees. Or you could even use the rule that the angle between the tangent and the side of the triangle is equal to the interior opposite angle. So which that means that 60 degrees would be equal to V, and it would be equal to W as well. If you see, both of the triangles ADC and ADB, all the vertices of all the edges of the triangle are touching the edge of the circles, and they both have a common point where the tangent meets that point. So therefore both W and V will be 60 degrees. You could use any method to find the angle V, but to find W you have to use this rule. Now, so let's label that as well, 60 degrees and 60 degrees. Now, we know that in a triangle that is formed with two sides as the radius has to be an isosceles triangle. That is, the radius, the two sides would be the same. So now there's two angles opposite to these two sides also have to be the same. So therefore this angle would also be 30 degrees. Now, since that angle is 30 degrees, we can find the value of x again by doing 180 minus 60, that is 120, because angles in a triangle add up to 180, and we know two angles in the triangle. So to find the third angle, all we need to do is 180 minus 30 minus 30, that is both the other angles in the triangle. So let's label it as 120. Now let's find this part of this angle. So again, this angle would add up to 190, not 190, it would add up to 90 because it is formed with at the tangent. So since we know part of that angle, so the other part of the angle would be 90 minus 20. So 90 minus 20 is 70 degrees. And again, we can use the rule that the angle between the tangent and the side of the triangle is equal to the interior opposite angle. So therefore 70 degrees would be equal to this entire angle, because that would be the angle that is so basically you would follow that rule that the angle between the tangent and the side of the triangle is equal to the interior opposite angle. So since this entire angle would be 70 degrees, we know that part of the angle is 30 degrees, so the remaining part has to be 40 degrees, and therefore y would be equal to 40 degrees. Now let's move to part E. So for part E, they are asking us to find the value of x. Now we know the rule of a cyclic quadrilateral, that the angle at the center of the circle is twice the angle at the circumference. So the angle at the center, that would be this angle, let's label it as y for now, would be equal to twice the angle at the circumference. So that they are talking about the 5x. So we can easily find y by doing 360 minus the remaining part of the angle, because an angle in a circle forms 360 degrees. So you could do 360 minus 3x plus 22 to find the y angle. Now we know that the y angle would be twice the size of the angle at the circumference, that is 5x in this case. So we can equate both the angles. So we can say 360 minus 3x plus 22 is equal to 2 times the angle at the circumference, so 2 times 5x. Now all we need to do is solve for x. So 360 minus 3x minus 22 is equal to 10x, because 2 times 5x is 10x. Now let's bring all the variables to one side and the numbers to the other side. So minus 13x is equal to negative 338. Now we can cancel the two negative signs, therefore x will be equal to 338 divided by 13. Therefore x would be equal to, you can simply put this in the calculator. So 338 divided by 13 is equal to 26. Therefore 26 would be your final answer for part E of this question.